Okay, this is a new section. It is 3.1 Law of Sines. And you use the law of sines to solve oblique triangles. So now we are finally getting away from right triangles. And we're going to work with regular oblique triangles. So there are absolutely no right angles. So if you look at this first triangle that I have drawn here, you may want to write this down on your blue sheet. So let me put this here if you want to write it down. Okay, so if you take a look at it, you have side A, side B, and side C. And then you also have angle alpha, which is across from side A, angle beta, which is across from side B, which was the same as dealing with right triangles. And then we have this new angle, since it's not a right triangle anymore. This is gamma, which is across from side C. So that's the new one. It's good gamma. Okay. So this right here is the formula that you are going to use for the law of sines. So you definitely want to put this on your blue sheet. It's sine of alpha over A equals sine of beta over B equals sine of gamma over C. So basically what it is you're matching up angle and side, and then you're going to end up doing a proportion. So I'm sure once we get started here, you'll remember what to do with proportions. And then the other thing to note is all three angles will add up to 180 degrees. So the first two types of triangles that we're going to look at are angle, side angle, and angle, angle, side. So whenever you figure out which one is which, it would be when you're given an angle, the included side, and an angle. For angle, angle, side, you'd be given an angle, the next angle, and then the side. This will help you later on in the section whenever you're determining when to use the law of sines. So that's just something to note. So I have two examples that we're going to look at. This is basically kind of like solving right triangles that we did with 1.8, except now we're just dealing with oblique triangles. So I have alpha as being 40 degrees, beta as being 60 degrees, and side A as being 4. So same thing as what we did in 1.8. Whatever side you're missing, you need to put your answers in a box so it's easy to find and easy to keep organized. Okay? Now, there's always going to be one angle or one side that's going to be easier to find than the others. So if you take a look at this one, you have two of the angles, so you can find this third angle. All of the angles add up to 180, so 180 minus 60 minus 40 would be 80. Also, I forgot, trying to figure out what type of triangle this is. This is an angle, and a side. So it's angle, angle, side. Okay, so now you're ready to solve for B and C. So if I write down the formula, sine of alpha over A equals sine of beta over B equals sine of gamma over C. What you are looking for is the match. And what I mean by the match is the angle in the opposite side that matches together. So if you look, you have alpha and you have A. So this would be this first part of the formula. So you would have sine of 40 over 4. Okay, so you're going to set up a proportion with the sine of beta over B or the sine of gamma over C. Now this is where you have to look. What is the only other piece of information that you have given? And that is the 60 degrees, which is the beta. So you are going to use this one and have sine of 60 over B. So we're going to solve for B first. This is what I'm meaning by setting up a proportion. When you do this, you are going to cross multiply. So you end up getting B sine 40 equals 4 sine 60. Now the whole goal is to get B by itself. So how do you get B by itself? How do you get rid of that sine of 40? You divide. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. The sine of 40 cancels out. So B equals 4 sine 60 divided by sine 40. So you can now put this whole thing right here into your calculator. So you can do 4 sine 60. Now, you need to remember to close the parenthesis after the 60. That is a big thing. And then divide sine 40. Close the parenthesis after the 40. And you should get 5.39. Okay. So now you're ready to solve for C. So you are going to basically do another one of these proportions, another setup like this. Always use whatever you were given originally. So you were given sine of 40 over 4. Okay, now we're looking at the C and the gamma. Well, you have gamma because you solved it earlier and it was 80. So you'll have sine of 80 over C. And then it's very repetitious. You're going to do the same thing to this one. You're going to cross multiply. So you get C sine 40 equals 4 sine 80. Divide by sine 40. And then you can put this into your calculator. So you should have 4 sine 80. Make sure you close the parenthesis after the 80 and divide sine 40. And you should get 6.13. Now, something that you can check just to make sure that you are doing this correct and you matched everything up. The smallest angle should go with the smallest side. The biggest angle should go with the biggest side. So the 80 and the 6.13 is the biggest side. Okay, we'll go ahead and do another example. We have alpha is 35 degrees, beta as being 15 degrees, and C equals 5. So we need gamma, A, and B. Okay, this type of triangle is an angle side angle because you have the angle, the included side, and the angle. Whenever you are given two angles, you can find the third one because they add up to 180. So 180 minus 15 minus 35, and you get 130. Okay, so now you're going to be looking for the match. And what I mean by the match, again, is the angle and the opposite side that match together. In this case, the only one that matches together is the gamma and the C. So if I write my formula, eventually you will be able to skip writing this, but I want to make sure you see that all you're doing is matching things together. Okay, so we're going to use the sine of 130 over 5. And let's just find A first. So you're going to have sine of 35 over A. You see how everything is matching up? Cross multiply. It's very repetitious. You're going to cross multiply and then divide. So A sine 130 equals 5 sine 35. Divide by sine of 130. So in your calculator, you can do 5 sine 35. Make sure you close that parenthesis. Divided by sine 130. And you should get 3.74. Okay, you're ready to find B. So you're going to do another problem. And I always say stick with what you're given. So use the sine of 130 over 5 again. And then this time just use the information for B. So you would have sine of 15 over B. Cross multiply, and you get B sine of 130 equals 5 sine 15. Divide by sine of 130. And then you can put that in your calculator. So 5 sine 15 divided by sine 130. And you should get 1.68. Okay, so you can match up. Smallest angle goes with smallest side. Biggest angle goes with biggest side. Okay, so this is your first homework assignment. It's page 268 and it's numbers 5, 6, and 7.